Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got updates in regards to the riots happening in Los Angeles County. It was reported earlier this morning that they're a little bit died down in compared to where they were, at least on Sunday night. There were multiple businesses looted. There was an Apple store where you've got all these minorities just grabbing all the iPhones and everything, and a sushi place gets looted, and Adidas gets looted. A lot of places. This is what happens, unfortunately, with these riots. There's it's hard to manage all of it. These people all wear masks, and a lot of them get away with stealing things. All of the iPhones. When you steal an iPhone, they put out like emergency alerts. The phone self destructs. You can't even use it. So I guess they sell them for parts, but the point is, we'll see what happens. Apparently, the Marines are still en route. They've got 700 Marines headed to LA County to hopefully calm everything down. And certainly, if you're Trump, you want this to be stopped ASAP because you want the administration to show strength and for the people of LA and these people rioting, a lot of them opportunistic people from other counties and other areas. You want these people to understand this is what's happening. There were another 10 raids that happened yesterday. It's going to continue to happen. This is what Trump was elected to do. So people just need to understand it. These people are here illegally. And you try and hear some of these liberals freak out about it. It just makes no sense. They have no argument. The people were here illegally. Trump was elected to deport them. This is an easy way to do it. If they don't want to self-deport, we say, well, you can self-deport. We'll give you $1,000 to self-deport. They don't want to do it. This is what's going to happen. And we're not going to deal with this thing to where there's these riots all over the place. Now they've got a date to where it's like there's a Communist Party having this huge wide-scale protest on the 14th of June, which is 4 days from now. But the big story I want to talk about today, Donald Trump says, oh yeah, we should arrest Newsom. I said probably not a good idea. Trump shouldn't do it. I don't think they're going to do it. Newsom has been egging the Trump administration on. If you go to Newsom's Twitter page, it's post after post after post. It's about Trump or about the administration. He's trying to turn this into it's a me against Trump. I'm standing up to the big bully. And it seems like when it comes to Trump, maybe you shouldn't take this bait because Newsom is trying to position himself as the leader, as the head of the Democratic Party for the run in 2028. He's one of the most recognizable governors. He's the governor of the biggest state in terms of the economy, the state's economy in the country. And Newsom's been in the political spotlight before. He's got good name recognition. So he's trying to pit himself against Trump. And it's like 1 out of every 10 tweets Newsom will put out, it's about management and about telling the people of his state what's going on and giving them an update. Everything else is just this spat with Trump if you go to it. And now you've got a reporter kind of off the cuff asking Trump, what do you think about arresting Newsom? And Trump kind of says in a joking way, yeah, I think we should arrest him. But if you go to Newsom's page here, it's all about Trump. He's got the pinned tweet up here. The president just called for the arrest of a sitting governor. It's this constant victim mentality. Remember, this whole thing started when ICE goes in and they do these raids. They do not receive help from the local law enforcement. The local law enforcement is instructed to not help because of the sanctuary city status and how liberal these states are, especially a state like California, especially a county like LA County. They're instructed to not help. So ICE gets beaten and they get bruised because people protest them and they say you shouldn't be doing this. Well, they're just going and arresting illegals. That's their job. And this is, people say it's states' rights. Well, this is the federal usurps the state in a circumstance like this when you're talking about illegal immigrants in the country, no matter where they are. This is the executive branch. These people are going to be removed. The ICE is well within their rights to do this. That's why they're conducting these raids. Otherwise, Newsom would have them thrown out of the state. So they're well within their rights they're well within their rights to conduct these raids. And again, it's Trump. He's defending. Only people defending insurrectionists are you and Trump, talking about Stephen Miller and Trump. He's retweeting stuff talking about the Biden administration comparison to Trump. Every tweet is calling out Trump. It's just he wants to really have a spat with Trump. He's turned this into, how can I help my political capital when it comes to my current standing for the 2028 Democratic nominee? And if I was Trump, I'd just say, I'm just going to stop talking about it because this is a disgusting situation. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of business being robbed, a lot of small businesses. Newsom now is really using this to try and uplift himself and denigrate the country and denigrate his own state. When you look at his Twitter account, where are the updates for the citizens? Where is the leadership? This is all just a spat with Trump, to where it's, I mean, Trump's barely even talked about Newsom, and it's just this constant barrage from Newsom talking about Trump. Look at this. Trump administration. More stuff about Trump. Trump chaos. Talking about criticizing Trump and his use of this is his lawsuit against Trump. He's got a lawsuit against Trump. So you see what's happening here. Trump. See, here's one, but this is his official account, to where he's retweeting stuff talking about a status update. Trump. It's more Trump deploys Marines. Trump. Nancy Pelosi, Trump administration escalation. Remember, the reason Trump had to bring in the National Guard was because ICE was getting beaten, and their local government, their local law enforcement, they're instructed to not help that. And so they say, well, it's an escalation to bring in people to quell the situation, to calm it down. And then they say, well, Trump's the one making it political. Well, why are the citizens of California not allowing ICE to do their job? And when those first videos came out of the ICE SUVs being hit with the projectiles, mainly large rocks. I mean, there's another video that I have on my X account of a big rock. It's almost like a small boulder being hurtled and nailing the windshield of a police car. And this is really before it was known that the National Guard was coming. So you're dealing with that, and a lot of those people, I believe they've said, Bongino and Homan said, well, some of these people have been caught and it's good, but they all wear masks, and so it's a big problem. But the issue here now is Newsom has made this political. He doesn't care about California. He doesn't care about LA County. What he cares about is really having this spat against Trump. That's why he said, unprovoked, he said, you know what, let's get it out of the way. You're a tough guy. Well, actually, you know what, to be fair, I think Homan did say that he was going to arrest Newsom. But it's like, you're playing into their game, but then Newsom's like, yeah, come arrest me. It's going to be good for my political career. Please do it. And then a reporter asked Trump, oh, you should arrest Newsom. What are you going to do? And then Trump says, yeah, we'll arrest him. It'll be because of how bad he's run California. Kind of like a tongue-in-cheek answer. But this is Newsom. He wants this spectacle. He would love to be arrested and be viewed as a martyr for the Democratic Party and be seen as their real leader in the fight against Trump. And you would think these people would understand ICE is trying to do their job. They're trying to arrest the amount. I mean, we've got a lot of self-deportations. They say it's around 700K in 4 months. That's amazing. When you include the self-deportations and the physical removals, which is, I mean, that's what ICE is doing now, is the physical. They say it's around 750K illegals removed, or just immigrants removed. So this is good stuff, what they're doing. They do need to up the physical removals, which is why they're doing these raids. And you got to go into the liberal areas. That's where all the illegals are. And so if we're not going to get help from the local law enforcement, the executive branch at the federal level is going to have to step in and try and help out ICE, because they're outmanned. They're outmanned, and they're facing people that are very angry at them for doing their job and deporting illegals. Remember, they try and do this due process thing and all of it, and they're not, if you look at laws and you understand the immigration process and the illegal immigrants and the rights that they don't have rights of citizens. They don't have due process in the form of court dates. Look at what happened under Obama when he deported around 300K that did not have any day in court, because they don't have to, because they're illegals. So this is all, what Trump is doing is all 100% legal. They tried to get him on the Garcia thing with the gang member from El Salvador, and he came back to the United States, but they were trying to go at it from the legal way. But now they realize it's like, well, technically the Trump administration, we admit it's all legal, but we just don't like it because we need these people. We have to give them amnesty, and or else we're going to lose. The only way we can win elections is by importing people and through globalism. And that's why California has turned so far left, because of immigration. It's not because of this amazing liberal leadership, or they're liberal because they've imported a bunch of immigrants. And that's what their state is now. And there's beautiful parts of California, don't get me wrong. Absolutely. It's a huge state. A massive economy. It's not like I bet. That's the thing when you talk about states, there's beautiful parts. 100%. But then you've got the stuff like LA County, and you see all of the bad. See, look at this. Do your job, having a spat with J.D. Vance. You've got Newsom saying the president called, just called to arrest me. Vance says, do your job and stop whining. And then Newsom says, do your job. I'm trying to elevate my 2028 status. I don't care about law and order in California. I just want to have a spat with Trump. That's basically what Newsom said there in response. And so now Newsom's bringing up January 6th. This is as his own state is dealing with these riots. You're dealing with the police officers being hit with projectiles. You're dealing with the National Guard and Marines coming and being deployed. And so you're having a spat with Republicans posting images from January 6th of 2021. I'll remind everyone, the next election that happened after January 6th, Donald Trump won the popular vote. So January 6th must have had a huge reaction on the American people. It was the worst thing ever. The perpetrator, supposed perpetrator, Donald Trump, won the popular vote. Oh, it was a horrible event. Yeah, it had a huge impact on the American people, I'm sure. Obviously, sarcasm there. Newsom spatting with other Republican leaders, and what crime did Newsom commit? He ran for governor. Well, that's a tongue-in-cheek thing that you take out of context. Trump was saying, well, he ran, and look at how bad the state is, and look at how ineffective the spending is in California. California is a well-oiled machine no matter what, just based off of all of it has going for it, including the weather, the beauty, the infrastructure they already have before Newsom took over. Newsom likes to tout the massive economy. The massive economy was going to exist with or without Newsom. They've had several big projects that have been commissioned under his governmental leadership that have not panned out, and they always talk about the high-speed rail, the billions that have been wasted in terms of not being able to build it, but they talk about more inefficiency just at a local level in a lot of the counties within California, and it's really unfortunately hurt the state overall, and especially a lot of people have been priced out of California just because, that there's a number of factors when it comes to real estate and things like that, but Newsom is playing the victim. If I was Trump, I would just say, I think Newsom is really bad and selfish, and this is terrible what he's doing. He's really making it about himself. There's a hierarchy within the Democratic Party, and it's really a pick-me party. And they're all trying to do, that's what Crockett does. That's what AOC does. They try and go against Trump, and they're like, I want to be the leader. I want to be the one to be the face of it, because they really don't have a face after Kamala got crushed, and Biden is out of the picture at this point, obviously. So they're all jockeying for it, and Newsom says, well, I think it should be me. Remember, Newsom in 2024, people thought when it came out that Biden was going to step down back in the summer, there was some talk that it was going to be Newsom. It was either going to be Harris or Newsom. And they were saying, well, if there's an open convention, it'll be Newsom or maybe someone else like Mark Kelly. But Newsom is like, he thinks he's the next man up. And so he's like, well, now I can really utilize this. We think it's an overreaction. Trump said, basically, we know how you guys act. You're not going to help my ICE agents. They're going to be beaten. No, but there's going to be no arrests, especially when you're talking about liberal counties with the prosecutors who don't want to cooperate. We have got to help these poor people out. They're trying to do their job. We're trying to arrest these people. We would love it if it was easier and we had cooperation from the local law enforcement, and we did these you did these raids in conservative states, but a lot of these illegals, they're in big liberal hub cities, and that's the problem. And that's just where the highly densely populated areas are anyway. So that's where the raids are going to take place. And so that's what's really going on here, guys. And we'll see what ends up happening. But if I was Trump, I would just say I think it's bad. And he's really, his state is dealing with some things. He should be a leader here. Instead, it's a pick-me thing. He's trying to go against me. He's trying to be the leader of his party rather than lead his state. And that's really what Trump needs to hammer. This whole stuff is like, I'm not going to arrest him. He wants me to arrest him. He came out and said, yes, please, daddy, arrest me. Well, no, it's not going to happen, because he wants that, and he wants the spectacle, and he wants to be the wounded victim. And what about your state? What about some leadership to your state? Every single post, every single tweet is about Trump or about someone within the administration, about Vance, about Republican senators, about Republican representatives. So see, this is the problem with Newsom. And they say, well, it's an overreaction. But if you go back to the timeline, the initial timeline said that ICE did their raids on Thursday at a Home Depot, and they've done several other raids now since. But The original ones, they were getting things thrown at them, at their cars, at their vehicles, and it was very ugly. And they were going to do another 10 or 12 raids. And Trump said, "Well, I'm looking at the situation, and I think it's probably." And also the thing is this is probably a wider scale operation they're starting, because we understand the administration was not doing physical deportations to the level that people within the Republican Party wanted. So it's another thing to where if we're starting this and we're already dealing with this type of harassment, it might be wise to show strength and say, no, you're not going to do this. You will not be able to get away with committing crimes against ICE agents and impeding them from doing their job and arresting illegal immigrants. And so maybe Trump's like, let's just get out in front of this. It's the summer. People are going to be out. They're going to be protesting. You will not be rewarded with this type of behavior. And that's the point. And then for the ones protesting and just out there because they're angry, they always chant it. This is what democracy looks like. 60% of Americans want all of the illegals deported. There was a big shift in the United States thanks to the Democrats under Biden in terms of the amount of illegals that they let in the country. It shifted from just deport the criminals. And by the way, this is just bipartisan. Most of us Republicans, we want all of them gone. The most common mainstream Republican talking point, and it's great that it's shifted this far. Most people say, I mean, there's too many illegals in the country. Immigration must be paused until all of the, or at least most of the illegals are removed. People want immigration paused. Now, Trump has never said that. It's funny because I remember Trump saying that back in like 2016 when he said we need to pause everything to figure out what's going on. But I know it's like a mainstream talking point. I mean, you hear Charlie Kirk saying it, other people saying it as well, to where they say, well, no, they say we need third world immigration to be completely eliminated for the time being. And that's like the mainstream right-wing talking point now. And whether or not Trump will do that, we'll see. I know he's got a travel ban. But obviously, if you don't know how many illegals are in the country, it's impossible to say because of how many. But the thing is, it's like, isn't that the least we could do, considering they let in 10, 15 million, however many it is, to pause immigration? Don't you think that's pretty smart? If they're allowed to let in 10 or 15 million within the span of 4 years, I mean, we're not going to even be able to get out 10 to 15 million. It's not possible. We don't have the infrastructure to do it. They're trying to get out 4 or 5 million, maybe. I mean, if you include the self-deportations, maybe you're talking about more, but the self-deportations are probably going to dissipate. And you're going to have to be reliant on the physical removals. But maybe if you start doing more physical removals, that'll intimidate people and they'll self-deport. I mean, there's a number of things you can do. You know, the administration went really hard against this right when Trump got in. It caused a lot of people to get nervous. That's why there were a lot of self-deportations. But this is what Newsom wants, and Trump is basically saying, hopefully Trump says, I'm not going to give you what you want. You're like a child. You want attention. I care about getting things done and what if Trump's like, I was promised I needed to deport these people. They're here illegally. 60% of people agree with me. I won the popular vote because of this to deport these people. And so that's what we're going to do. And if you don't like it, that's unfortunate. But the people are here illegally and they're going to be removed. And Trump won to be able to deport these people. That's the reality of it. So if the people are not here legally, they're going to be removed. If you don't like that, if you have friends that are here illegally, I'm sorry that it's unfortunate. But this is just how it is in the United States. We are bringing back some form of law and order. And, I mean, you see these liberal cities and what happens to them. They all get loot. I mean, it happens to... This is unfortunately, what is fostered through a modern liberal environment is this type of just lawlessness. I mean, it's a lawless society. You know, liberals were the ones to say... And they ended up rejecting this because it's so dumb. But they said, defund the police back in 2020. Well, now some of them are saying, defund ICE. And it's just the same thing. It's lawlessness. It's illegals should be able to live. It's constant poverty. It's just go steal everything. Go rob stores. This is what we're trying to eliminate. And Newsom is trying to make it about himself. He's trying to make it about his 2028 potential presidential campaign, and now is not the time. It's 2025. We got a long ways away before that, but every post that Newsom has is about Trump, and it's about, and then they say, well, it's his personal account. Well, this is obvious, and I believe his personal account has more followers anyways. It's a promotional thing when you have a personal account versus a governor account. which is the political account. He's promoting himself with this personal account, and this is his propaganda. This is how these politicians do it. So this is like his propaganda against Trump, and he just loves this. He loves that Trump is talking about him. And if I'm Trump, I'm like, listen, it's bad. He's really using the situation for personal gain, and he shouldn't do that. And we're trying to help these agents. And I mean, Trump's like, I've been criticized. We haven't deported enough people. So we're trying to ramp it up, and we're doing it in a way that we have to conduct these raids, and this is just how it has to be. So we'll see what ends up happening. But either way, guys, make sure you like the video down below. Also follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.